Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 facts about Iran-India relations. So before starting this video, please like this video, and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. The bilateral ties between India and Iran are referred to as India-Iran relations, Indian-Iranian relations or Indo-Iranian relations. On March 15, 1950, independent India and Iran established diplomatic relations. For most of the Cold War, the Republic of India and the former imperial state of Iran had strained relations, due to their divergent political interests non-aligned. India maintained strong military relations with the Soviet Union, while Iran maintained close ties with the US. The following are 10 interesting things about their relationship. Number 10. In terms of economics, Iran is India's second largest crude oil supplier, delivering more than 425,000 barrels per day, and as a result, India is one of Iran's largest foreign investors in the oil and gas industry. Due to comprehensive economic sanctions against Iran, the $12 billion United States annual oil trade between India and Iran was halted in 2011, forcing the Indian oil ministry to repay the debt through a banking system in Turkey. Even though the two countries have some strategic interests in common, India and Iran have major differences on main foreign policy issues. India has voiced strong opposition to Iran's nuclear program, and although both countries condemn the Taliban, India, unlike Iran, supports NATO's involvement in Afghanistan. Number 9. According to a BBC World Service poll conducted at the end of 2005, 71% of Iranians thought India's impact was positive, while only 21% thought it was negative, giving India the highest positive rating of any country in the world. Iran has also offered to act as a mediator between India and Pakistan because of its good ties with both countries. Despite India's rejection of the 1979 revolution, the two countries have friendly ties in several places. Significant trade relations exist, particularly in crude oil imports to India and diesel exports to Iran. Pakistan's efforts to draft anti-India resolutions at international organizations such as the OIC and the Human Rights Commission were repeatedly criticized by Iran. The addition of Iran as an observer state to the SAARC regional organization was welcomed by India. Number 8. Iranian students are increasingly enrolling in Indian universities, especially in Pune and Bengaluru. Tehran's clerical government sees itself as the world's Shiite king, including in India. Shiites in India have state protection, including a national holiday for Muharram. Lucknow is still a major center of Shiite culture and Persian studies on the Indian subcontinent. In Afghanistan in the 1990s, India and Iran backed the Northern Alliance against the Taliban regime. They are continuing to work together to support Ashraf Ghani's broad-based anti-Taliban government, which is supported by the US. In December 2002, the two countries signed a defense cooperation agreement. Number 7. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, appealed to Muslims around the world in 2010 to support the freedom movement in Jammu and Kashmir. In response, India summoned the acting Iranian ambassador to New Delhi to file a formal complaint. Iran detained India's largest ocean liner shipping corporation Sai vessel Mountain Desh Shanti, carrying crude oil from Iraq in the Persian Gulf in August 2013. Iran stood firm, insisting that the tanker's detention was a technical and non-political issue. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid an official visit to Iran on May 22, 2016. The focus of the visit was on bilateral connectivity and infrastructure, as well as a strategic energy partnership and trade. Ayatollah Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, urged Muslims in Kashmir to repudiate oppressors, just before Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Israel in July 2017. Number 6. Iranian crude oil accounted for about 16.5% of India's crude oil imports in 2008-2009. India's oil imports from Iran increased by 9.5%, making Iran the country's second largest oil supplier. India imports approximately 40% of its refined oil from Iran. Indian oil companies announced in June 2009 that they would invest $5 billion in the development of an Iranian gas field in the Persian Gulf. According to a Pakistani diplomat quoted by the Mehr news agency in September 2009, India definitely left the IPI, India-Pakistan-Iran, gas pipeline contract in favor of the India-United States civil nuclear agreement for energy security. India, on the other hand, has yet to make an official statement, according to Iranian officials. In 2010, US officials warned New Delhi that using the Asian Clearing Union for financial transactions with Iran could violate a Recent US law prohibiting foreign companies from doing business with Iranian banks, and the oil and gas industry, and that Indian companies, doing business with Iran in this manner, could be excluded from the US. The US accuses the ACU of not being open enough in its financial dealings with Iran and suspects that a large portion of their funds are funneled to blacklisted Iranian organizations such as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran is also suspected of using the ACU to circumvent the US banking system, according to the US Treasury Department. Number 5. India is funding the construction of a highway connecting Zaranj and Delaram Highway. Iran and India both contributed to the construction of the Chabahar port. The Indian government alone intends to invest $20 billion in the construction of Chabahar port. India is assisting in the development of the Chabahar port, which will provide it with access to Iran's and Central Asia's oil and gas resources. India aims to contend with China, which is constructing the Gwadar port in Pakistan's Balochistan. Iran intends to use Chabahar as a transshipment center for Afghanistan and Central Asia, while retaining Bandar Abbas as a major trading hub for Russia and Europe. India, Iran and Afghanistan have agreed to give Indian goods bound for Central Asia and Afghanistan preferential treatment tariff reductions at the Chabahar port. Number 4. The Chabahar Milak Zaranj Delaram route connecting Iran and Afghanistan is currently under construction. Iran is improving the Chabahar Milak road and building a bridge on the route to Zaranj with Indian assistance. The 213-kilometer Zaranj-Delaram road is being built by India's Border Roads Organization. It's part of India's $750 million assistance package for Afghanistan. Iran's chance to end its US-sponsored economic isolation and profit from the resurgent Indian economy is the Chabahar port project. Chabahar, along with Bandar Abbas, is the Iranian entry point on the North-South Highway. A strategic alliance between India, Iran, and Russia aims to create a multimodal transport route connecting Mumbai and St. Petersburg, giving Europe and Central Asia's former Soviet republics access to Asia and vice versa. Number 3. The North-South Transport Corridor connects India, Russia, Iran, Europe, the Caucasus and Central Asia via ship, rail and road. The path mainly includes shipping, rail and road freight from India, Iran, Azerbaijan and Russia. The corridor's aim is to improve trade connections between major cities including Mumbai, Moscow, Tehran, Baku, Bandar Abbas, Astrakhan and Bandar Anzali, among others. In 2014, dry runs were carried out on two routes: Mumbai to Baku via Bandar Abbas and Mumbai to Astrakhan via Bandar Abbas, Tehran and Bandar Anzali. The study's aim was to recognize and solve major bottlenecks. According to the findings, transportation costs were cut by $2,500 per 15 tons of freight. Armenia, Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan are among the other choices being considered. Number 2. The Parsi community in India has the world's largest Zoroastrian population. Many Zoroastrians migrated to India's western coast during the Arab conquest of Persia, and the country now has the world's largest Zoroastrian population. The Parsi community has made important contributions to India and Pakistan in the fields of politics, business, research and culture in the modern age. Dadabhai Naoroji, three-time president of the Indian National Congress, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, nuclear energy scientist Homi Bhabha, industrialist J.R.D. Tata, and the Tata family are all prominent Indian Parsis. Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen, was an Indian Parsi who was born in Zanzibar. Zubin Mehta, a conductor of Western classical music orchestras, and a native of Mumbai, is also a Parsi. Although India's total amount of imported crude has only marginally increased, from 3.2 million barrels a day in 2009-2010 to 3.44 million barrels a day in 2021-2013, imports from Iran have essentially been fluctuating around 250,000 barrels a day from 2012 to 2013, and thus increasing proportionally due to a halt in Iranian exports to Europe. Although the recent detention of an Indian tanker by Iranian officials has little to do with the oil embargo, India plans to raise Iranian imports by 11 million tons in 2014, in addition to the 2 million tons of crude oil shipped from Iran by June 2013, up 21.1% from the previous year, in order to save over $8.5 billion United States dollars in hard currency and secure a 180-day waiver from US sanctions. Number 1. The United States sees India's help, which sits on the International Atomic Energy Agency's 35-member Board of Governors, as critical to obtaining a large majority for its resolution to refer the matter to the Security Council for positive punitive action against Iran. India's voice will bear special weight, said Greg Schulte, the US ambassador to the IAEA. I hope India joins us in making clear our common concerns about Iran's nuclear program. Schulte did not deny that the nuclear agreement between India and the United States was dependent on India's support for the United States on the Iran issue. The Indians are emerging from their non-aligned status and becoming a global force, and they must begin to think about their obligations, according to a senior US official speaking to the New York Times about the situation with Iran. They must make a fundamental decision. The Bush administration, on the other hand, acknowledged India's close ties to Iran and softened its stance, saying that India can be trusted proceed with a pipeline agreement between Iran and Pakistan. The pipeline isn't our issue, it's Iran. What do you think of our list? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.